What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks, all right? Let's get straight right into it, bruh. So you already know, man, basically what happened near the end of last week. Big news dropped, and that news was definitely had to do with the Clippers. Man, a lot of things came out basically with like the team being unhappy, Lou Will, obviously those dogs, they say Lou Will, Montrez, Pat Bev, etc. not being happy with Kawhi and Paul George, the treatment they were getting, especially they name dropped that it came to Kawhi. Rumblings about, they need a point guard and Kawhi wants a point guard and this, that, and the third, and things that Doc Rivers wasn't doing. So we know, let's go back into history. So basically we know that the Clippers, sussing the runs, didn't give us the conference finals that it was set up to be. Because watch it be next year that the Clippers and the Lakers do face, but then watch it going to be like a second round thing or something like that. It was actually set up where as long as the Lakers or Clippers, as long as one team is the first seed or the fourth seed and the other team is the second seed or the third seed, that means they're going to meet in the conference finals, right? So it actually worked out perfect. They were 1 and 2. That's what you want. So that's when you're going to meet in the conference finals if you were to meet. But the Clippers obviously sussed the runs and they lost a 3-1 lead to Denver in the second round. Up, obviously 3-1. Losing, we already know, had 19-point lead, lose one game. Had a 13, 15-point lead, lose the next game. Then had a 12-point lead and lose the last game and blown out. And Paul George hitting the side backboard. Kawhi looking heinous and just atrocity. Doing nothing. Only JaMychal Green, I think, was the only one that basically scored. And then Harrell in the fourth. Like, they didn't do nothing. Zero. Nada. Okay? So we already know that happened. The Lakers go on to win the championship, beating the same Nuggets in the same situation, 3-1, winning in 5 that the Clippers were supposed to do. So that also is crucial. And that also is like, we look over to our other guys. Not only do they win the championship, but they beat the same team we beat up 3-1. Obviously, different context. Now that you've seen Clippers lose 3-1 and you're in that same situation, they're not going to lose a lead from 3-1 when those guys just are getting clowned for losing a lead 3-1. So that's obviously the situation, but doesn't matter. They were in the same situation and they handle business. So that's going to affect clearly it's not like it's just us. It's not like it's just anybody. It's just us. So we look at it from that perspective, and obviously they now let Doc Rivers go. Now, people look at it from this perspective and like, oh my God, Doc Rivers. They always bring up this history. Doc Rivers lost. This is his third 3-1 lead that he lost. You know what I mean? He was in the organization for 9 or 7 years or whatever it was. And he hasn't won a ring or even not even gone to the conference finals and all that type of stuff, and bringing up these narratives that look fugazi, etc., etc. And that is putting pressure on ownership, Ballmer, and all those guys, to basically pull the chair from under Doc and basically fire him and let it go. And basically, have him move on and go to a different place, which obviously we've seen that now he moved on and he went to the Sixers, right? And me, me, my eyes work. My IQ works. So whenever a narrative is painted, I don't just run with the narrative, right? I use IQ. I look at what's happening. Is it true to what's actually happening? Is it cap or is it facts? That's what it is. Is it cap or is it a fact? Is it fact or is it cap? You know what I'm saying? And that's what we do. So when I look at it, I'm like, y'all saw the breakdowns. Y'all saw me highlight that. Basically, Doc is yelling at guys like, yo, come on, let's go. We good. Let's get it. Let's go. What are we doing? What are we doing? He's trying to communicate and it's falling on deaf ears. That to me is a red flag. And that to me is more so I could be like, you know what? Doc is sussing the runs from the fact that mans don't hear you no more. Your voice is lost in the locker room. Normally 9 times out of 10, you have to move on from that coach because it's not going to get any better. Even if you get better players or whatever the case is, the fact that they're not listening to the coach, something has transpired that they're like, whatever, man. That's when your voice is, that's the one thing as a coach you don't want to lose. You might suss a 1-2 and all at one point. You might do this and whatever. And like, you don't have this type of player, might not buy in fully or one player and then everybody else. And then you could just get rid of that player and bring a new player. Like But the one thing that you, as a coach, you never want is to lose your voice in the locker room. Once you lose your voice in the locker room, it's actually over. You can't put the team on your shoulder. It's actually over. Once you lose your voice in the locker room, that's when it's like, okay, we gotta make a change. We gotta make a change. So when I look at it from that perspective, to me, again, that's not ever X's and O's. When people try to knock Doc Rivers X's and O's, X's and O's, X's and O's, yes, like I was saying before, there's times that he doesn't make an adjustment because of pride. He's thinking, yo, y'all lock up, switch everything. What are we doing? Where's the defensive chemistry? What are we doing? We've had games where we locked up. I didn't need to do an extra X's and O's. We have these defenders lock up, have defensive chemistry, be on the string. You know what I'm saying? Shrink the floor, gap, recover, switchability, rotate, help the helper, all that type of stuff. Those are basic principles, especially as Doc being a player. You have pride in those things. You want players who take pride in those things. You don't want to have to be doing all this next advanced schemes to hide this guy and hide like when this is not working. Like, oh, you have a voice to just motivate them to get back to what they know and what they do, which is take pride in everything. So that's Doc Rivers as a coach. Clearly, that's why he does his best when he has players that match what he is preaching, right? And every coach is kind of like that. Obviously, the more advanced coaches can do the X's and O's. You're sussing this, or we do this. You're sussing this, you do this. But at the end of the day, even if I do, like, people don't understand. This is why I was saying it's not really on the court-wise Doc's fault, because I seen him try and try and try. I've seen him have Montrezl Harrell basically get cooked by Jokic, and he's not getting cooked one-on-one mainly. Sometimes in situations, yes, but that's not a way to make a complete change. He's getting cooked. Same thing with Nowitzki too. They were getting cooked. Nowitzki. Same thing with Porzingis. The same thing they were getting cooked was when the big man can shoot, the player who's playing the 5 can shoot. So what they do is they pick and they pop. Montrez, Zubac, whoever it is so used to rim protection or playing and icing the pick and rolls and guarding the guy who's penetrating that they gap for a minute to stop him. But the player who's now involved in the pick and roll, who's the initial defender with, let's say, Jamal Murray, or the initial defender with Luka, when they're guarding and they're picked, they keep following. And the big men, because they're so used to rim protection, other bigs aren't popping. They're used to stopping penetration and playing the rim, and that's it. And if anything, you would switch, right? If anything, let's say Lou Will or whoever is guarding Luka would switch and go out to the popper, or whoever's guarding Jokic will go out, or guarding Jamal Murray will go out to the popper. But that's not what they were doing. They were still following. So that guy's getting trapped. Just do a hook pass back to Porzingis. Do a hook pass or a shuffle pass back to Jokic. Bucket, bucket, bucket. Tray ball. Easy tray balls. And that's where it's team defense. It's not individual defense. So people were lying to themselves and just looking at the stat sheet and looking, oh my God, who's guarding Jokic? He's cooking. And it's like, that's where you're not understanding the game and just literally just using using overall stats, and just, that's where I hate what's happening. And I'm like, yo, that's cap. Obviously, yes, with now rebounds and other things, Trez is sussing and whatever. Then he took out Trez. He put in Zubac. The same thing was happening. Then he tried to put Jermichael at the 5, where they would just switch everything. Then now they miscommunicate. Sometimes they switch, sometimes they don't. Lou Will's involved, he's not switching. He's late running out and trying to contest Jokic. Bucket. You know what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that. When it's Kawhi, they switch perfectly. Nothing happens. When it's Paul George, they switch perfectly because of switchability. You know what I'm saying? So those little things, you have to be engaged and actually hear the coach and actually be in tune and buy in to actually understand the game plan, the schemes that you're going to be doing, because you have to compartmentalize who is who. KYP, know your personnel. With this guy, we do this. With this guy, we do this. With this guy, we do this. A guy that can shoot, a big that can shoot, we switch automatically. If it's Jamal Murray, we just gap, recover, and we don't fully switch. You know what I'm saying? But if it's me and Paul George and Kawhi, we switch everything. If it's Lou Will, we kind of stunt and go back. You know, because we don't want him to be on that guy. And these are advanced thinking you got to do within the moment. You have to be on a string and in tune and buy in and hear the coach to even apply these schemes and apply what's going on, the rotations. So these are advanced thinking that people aren't looking at. When I looked at that, anytime you see confusion within one time they're doing it, next time they're not, this, that, and all that type of stuff. One has to do with a lot of it sometimes is fatigue, because when you're fatigued, you don't be thinking the same. You're everything you just move fugazi. Fatigue, and also at the same time, you're not listening to the game plan at hand. Or you've heard the game plan and you're basically not applying it on the court. And that's where it's team chemistry. That's where some guys might not like each other. Not only that, not even just some guys might not like each other, because you don't have to like someone to actually buy in and do what you got to do on the court. You're going to try when you want to win. But it's not necessarily that. It's actually that you're just not, you're listening. It's like, it's going out one ear and out the other when it comes to the coaching. So that means the coach's voice is lost. They're not doing it. Sometimes they're doing it. And every time it's to call a timeout, call a timeout. Yo, what are y'all doing? Call a timeout. Yo, what are you doing? I said do this. Really? And it's like, and you've seen how I showed how they're not even together. There's no togetherness within the team, even during the timeouts. Mans are sitting over there. Two mans are there talking. Two mans are there talking. Two mans are there talking. There's only 5-6 mans here together listening to what's going on. That's where you know the chemistry is just fugazi, and the chemistry starts from the coaching, because there's something that he might have done that brought no chemistry, but it also comes down to, and this is my next issue with Kawhi, where he has to now change who he is, or you have to change who you put beside Kawhi to do what he don't do, which is basically team chemistry. He was never responsible for that. Remember, he came into the league with an already team chemistry type of team, a team that was winning based off of a lot of it team chemistry, not the main talent, especially when they were older when it comes to the Spurs. It was a lot of team chemistry. Then you had Popovich. Everyone buys in and listens to Popovich. No one dare say a word to Popovich. So everyone's buying in. Everyone's listening. Everyone's like, yo, what does he say? They're fair. They're fair in their chest to, oh, yo, Popovich, you know, he's going to go off on me. I don't want that to happen. He went off on Tim. He might go off on me. There's no favorites. You can catch it. You can catch it. You definitely can catch it. You can catch it twice. You know what I'm saying? There's no, oh, no, boy yelling at me, but Tim Duncan didn't. He didn't. Tony Parker didn't, but Ginobili didn't. Are you? No, there's none of that. There's none of that. We yell at everybody. Everybody gets the same treatment, which is why everybody buys in. Everybody's on the string. Everybody's trying to do what's right, not trying to get exposed, not trying to get called out in the next film session. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's happened. Those are the things that she won't tell you. All these analysts or whatever they are you see on TV won't tell you. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that you have to pay attention to, and they matter. They matter. You know what I'm saying? So Kawhi was brought into that situation. Kawhi being brought into that situation, he didn't have to do it. Now when he even became, you have to be the best player, he still didn't have to do it. When Tim Duncan retired and then Parker's older, Ginobili hella older, and now they flip the switch to where it's now, you know what, Kawhi? We've been doing just a system type of thing, but we changing that shit. Aldridge is on the team now. We're not doing that system stuff no more. Popovich, you know, I'm gonna adjust. We're gonna shoot more threes. We're gonna play IQ, but we're still going to have you do a lot of ISO now. I never was a guy that just lived with ISO, but we're going to do a lot of ISO now. And that's when Kawhi took it over and was going to work and having those type of seasons. When he stepped on the scene, we were like, oh my goodness, who's this guy? You know what I'm saying? Not who's this guy, but oh, this guy is this echelon? Oh, okay. Okay, Kawhi, MVP, you know, that one before he got injured. He might be an MVP next year and all that type of stuff. And that's when, you know what I mean? He didn't have to, again, do any of the chemistry stuff. He could just come there, ball out, go home. Come there, ball out, go home. Lead by example. Lead by example. Also on defense. Do all the little things. Do all the intangibles. Not only that, basically, you know, go to work and all that type of stuff. Do the Jimmy Butler without the Jimmy Butler. Because Jimmy Butler is still leading off the court. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't have to. Now he goes to Toronto, where it's a well-oiled machine. All they needed was a superstar. They had everything there. They had, you know, obviously Nurse's first year coaching, but they had solid whatever system they were using, right? They had a perfect role players, and the role players were overachieving role players, right? People who were under the radar, all that type of stuff, trying to make a name for themselves. Even their star on their team, which was Lowry and DeRozan, were guys that were trying to make a name for themselves. Now that DeRozan leaves, you have Lowry. Lowry's a guy who's been trying to make a name for himself. He's been getting it out the mud. You know what I'm saying? So you have all those type of guys. It's a perfect fit for Kawhi, because now they're already going to be listening. And not only that, they don't have the talent to not be listening anyways. Yes, they are dogs, but they are dogs that they had to listen to get to their spot that they are at anyways. So they're a well-oiled machine. Everyone's good. So they just need a superstar. So if you come there getting superstar treatment, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to matter. It's like, yo, this guy different anyways. You know what? Do what you do, because we've been struggling. We've been losing. We've been doing nothing. We need you. So it went hand in hand. What they needed, what he needed, went hand in hand. We needed a guy who, I don't care if you get superstar treatment, we just need a guy. DeRozan wasn't that. Kawhi comes. I need to go to the situation where, one, my teammate, I just left a situation where they were throwing me under the bus. I need my teammates to praise me. I need my teammates to understand this is my treatment that I get. I come off an injury. I get my load management. Don't even question me. And it went hand in hand. And the only one who questioned him was Lowry, and eventually he turned a leaf when he realized, okay, I'm mad and salty about DeRozan getting traded, but this guy's that guy. He's worth it. All right, I'm a buy-in now. And it went hand in hand. So again, Kawhi doesn't have to lead like that when it comes to, let's do a team dinner. Yo, what are y'all doing? What up to all 15 men? Yo, you good? You good? You good? You good? You good? He doesn't have to do everything in that sense of leadership. His leadership is just, we watch you on the court and we know what you do. And when I'm watching you while you're doing it, whoo, I get amped. I got to turn up. This man's diving for loose balls. He's getting the steal and punching. Oh, he's carrying today. I'm ready. Let me get nice. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of leadership he does, where you see him doing it. And now if he was to yell you in the court, yo, what are you doing? Make that rotation, bro. You don't even say nothing. You be like, yo, I got you. My fault. Because you see him going all out. You know what I'm saying? So when it looks like, so Kawhi in two situations didn't have to do that. Now he comes to a third situation. The third situation, and this now links with why Doc Rivers' voice gets lost, which is what I was talking about. The third situation is a situation where now you look at it. He comes in. The year before he comes in, their whole staple, their whole demeanor, their everything is basically, we dogs. We fight, we ride, we die. Everything. You get beat, we help you. You get beat off the help, we help you. We help you, we help you. Everybody rotating, everybody fighting together. Even rookies are doing a shade, and everybody. No special treatment. That's been their motto. They push Golden State 6 games at the special treatment. Kate even says, forget that special treatment. My goodness. I'm going to have to eat their people. And he has to get 50 twice for them to actually lose. So they're now confident. Yo, now we get Paul George and we get Kawhi. Woo! That's why they're there. Feeling like they're championship bound, because they're looking at, yo, we were 50-win team and an AFC team with no all-star. Now we add 2 and a superstar. You better ask somebody. You better ask. You better ask. We about to win this chip. We about to win this chip. So that's where they're looking at it. And they're dogs, and they go defensively. They move like, it's not like, you know what I mean? Nah. They got it, bro. Nah, it's about to be a ring. Easy. That's what they're thinking. But then what happens? Now you're hearing rumblings, you're hearing notes, hearing reporters come out saying, and we don't know how true it is, but I know it's true to a certain extent, because I looked at the chemistry and I said there was something wrong. It wasn't Doc was sussing with X's and O's. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense where y'all are complaining about Doc doing this. Oh, he could have made this adjustment. He could have made this. He could have made this. And I'm like, yo, I could go through a list of sussing that Steve Kerr has done. I could go through a list of sussing that Popovich has done. Popovich even lost him a ring by taking out Tim Duncan, and he didn't get that rebound. You know what I'm saying? I can make a list of even times where Nurse sussed the 1-2 thing. We're not putting Kawhi, whatever. Obviously, he had to do it again the next time. I can make a list of even Spoelstra in this finals, not sussing. I can make a list of things that Vogel has sussed. People don't understand. When you're coaching in that moment, what feels and what looks like the IQ decision at the time might not be the IQ decision 5 minutes later, because the results can change, because these players can dictate a result. Now, if the result favors a decision that this guy has made, you're going to say he's IQ. Oh my God, he did this. But if it doesn't favor, perfect example like Brad Stevens. You know what? Grant Williams bought some minutes and Tice was on the bench. He was in foul trouble. Grant Williams was forced to play the 5. We bought some minutes. They were switching everything because Tice was sussing, and Bam was going to work pick and roll, whatever. We were having babies on Bam, whatever the case is. Now we switch everything. So now Grant Williams is on. When Tice was switched onto a smaller guy who was getting cooked, whatever the case is. Now Grant Williams can guard perimeter and can guard the big. So they were literally switching everything. They didn't have to hedge and go back, which was sussing communication. Now they put Grant Williams in, they could switch everything. They didn't have to hedge and go back. So it was styling and just stalling the offense. And when it came to the Heat, they weren't able to have the ball movement. You just switch everything. Like I said, switching everything aggressively with good defenders will cancel all that ball movement shit in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they did. And then what would they get in transition? They came back. Then what happens? Near the end of the game, you know what? Let me put Tice back. because Bam all of a sudden said, oh, I'm going to go to work and did like 3 straight ISO plays and was killing Tice one-on-one, it became a bad decision. But if Bam did what Bam normally does and just play within the offense, it wouldn't have been an OD bad decision. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So stuff like that, again, is going to always look at the coach did this and did this and did this. There's so many things that a coach has done that people don't even notice that was bad. People don't even notice in the real time. The players that play are watching like, why would he do that? 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 But the fans and whatever don't see those things in real time. Only after now when it's a loss. Yo, he should have played Joakim Noah. He should have played Reggie Jackson. He should have did this. He should have did this. Granted, yes, after you could say anything he should have done. But what the real root of the problem isn't the fact that why should he have to play guys who have never played the whole series when they were up 3-1? People don't even think like that. They were up 3-1 with the exact same rotations, the exact same schemes, the exact same everything. They were up 3-1. Not only up 3-1, they were up 19 in that same game they lost. So why can't you ever just look at the players suss the runs? The players' energy changed. The players were more fatigued. The players weren't moving on a string defensively. That has to do with Doc? Then what happens? Did he just allow that to go throughout the whole game? No, what did he do? Oh my goodness. Say word. Reggie Jackson come in. Oh, you sus. You didn't even change anything. Bruh. Jamaica go to the 5. You sus. You didn't change anything. Come back, Zubac. You sus. You didn't change anything. You just score on your bean. You know what? Bruh. Montrez go back. You just sus. And he's literally every other substitution. He's doing this. And y'all still acting like he didn't. That's why I'm like, yo, the way they blame Doc, they didn't just blame. If they blame Doc saying he lost his voice, no one knew. So no one said that. The way they were going at Doc during that time with everything was basically that, you know what I mean? He's bad external coach. He doesn't adjust. He doesn't adjust. He doesn't adjust. And it's true in other situations. That has happened. But in this situation, that was cap. That was cap. What coach in that situation is going to do the complete 360 adjustment and play Joakim Noah the whole game or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not really going to happen. Now, he could have done it. Yes, he sussed in that sense, but why should it come to that? Why should it come to that? What is actually the root of the problem? Because it's not like Joakim, it's not like Jokic is just cooking one-on-one, breaking chest and just killing one-on-one. That's not true. All of it was pick and roll, and then he'll do, once in a blue moon, he'll do that one-legged floater, fade, wrong foot fade or whatever he was doing, sky high swishing. But most of the times it was off the pick and roll, the pick and pop. But y'all don't see that, so it's okay. That's why I'm here to educate. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, that's why I'm looking at, I'm like, yo, it wasn't the X and O's issues. There has to be a different issue. That's why I'm like, Doc getting fired doesn't make sense, because you can't be getting fired just for X's and O's. It doesn't make sense. That's why I didn't agree with it. But when this comes out, this is the only way it can make sense. This is when I'm like, because normally, especially the first year, and it's a bubble, why would you fire a guy from X's and O's? From a 1 to adjustment. So he can't improve that next year? I know it's not an X's and O's issue. That's what my whole point was. The way they made it seem, and everyone was talking about X's and O's, it's not, that could not be the issue. It makes no sense. That's cap. I don't agree with that firing if it's X's and O's. And that's what my whole video and me talking about it was. I'm like, it doesn't make no sense. It's cap. Cap-tacular. And then what happens? Now you hear these coming out. And obviously, Lou will. So what's happening is that they're saying that Kawhi got special treatment, which is what I was explaining before. Kawhi got special treatment. Kawhi got, he was late to flights, stuff like that coming from San Diego. They weren't happy with it. They didn't even leave him. They didn't get on him for anything. So that means constantly he's late. You know what I'm saying? Late to the bubble, late to all these type of things. And they didn't like it. Special treatment, the way they reacted to it. And they're like, yo, what is going on here? And like I said, the context is Kawhi is basically coming from that special treatment in Toronto. This is a guy's getting Kawhi and dying. Everyone just Kawhi. Ooh, Kawhi. He could do whatever. He had people, his wife or whoever, come on the plane. You know what I mean? He could do whatever. Special treatment across the board. He comes to LA. The reason why he came to LA, because obviously Doc agreed to that. But like I said, this is where the problem is. When you're not transparent, I don't know how transparent they were, but Doc agreed to it. So the expectations of the Lou will, the expectations of everybody, you gotta understand. And so there's multiple things with this. Doc is at the root of this, because at the end of the day, the way they reacted to it and they looked at you, it might not be fully your fault, but it's your fault of how the players look at it like it's your fault. So in grand scheme, it is your fault because your voice is lost, which is why they have to fire him. I'm telling you, for you to get fired like that in this situation, it's not just because you lost a 3-1 lead. There's people who lost a 3-1 lead and they're there the next season. Steve Kerr lost a 3-1 lead in the finals and he's there the next season. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he went to the finals and we get it. Obviously, but at the end of the day, when you're still shocked off a 3-1 lead. You don't be gone from just losing a 3-1 lead. Obviously, his history comes back to bite him, but if your voice is lost, then you get fired. So when I look at it from that perspective, I'm like, yo, Pat Bev and them are basically like, yo, last year, our blueprint was this, this, and this. That's who we are. These guys coming in, it matches who we are. So let's get straight right to it. We're basically like a Popovich team. Kawhi makes a mistake, you get at him. Paul George makes a mistake, you get at him. Pat Bev makes a mistake, you get at him. We all like that. We all like that. So that's been our team. That's been our staple. Now all of a sudden, Kawhi does something under the rug. Paul George does something. And they're like, Paul George? Paul George getting this treatment? With what ring? Swept under the rug. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think it's truth to Lou Will saying, yo, I don't even know what Bristol means or whatever the case is. He's like, that's cap. I think it's truth maybe to Kawhi himself. But I think that the way they're saying, they're putting it, because media, again, you have to look at it. Media's gonna, like, these things coming out about Kawhi and whatever, anything is Kawhi. So he's in threat of LeBron. They're gonna make it Kawhi. I already know. But the truth is, I don't think Lou Will, I think Lou Will has he's right to a certain extent. He's right because of the actual nitty gritty that they're writing. Oh, he was mad at Kawhi did this and this, and they were mad. I don't think they were mad with Kawhi, the flights issue. I think some of them might be, but it's not to a point where it's like, yo, we're not going to listen to Doc no more. I think where they're not, it's affecting the relationship with Doc and how they view him is the fact that Paul George is getting the same treatment Kawhi is getting. That's where if they said Paul George's name, I don't think Lou Will would have came out and said, that's cap. I think they would have been like, yeah. Like, you heard the whole thing of Paul George saying, yo, we good next year, whatever. And then they rolling their eyes. And he's like, yo, it was never about this year. They're rolling their eyes. I know when it comes to Paul George, they're like, yo, humble yourself. You're not like, I know Marcus Morris is like, yo, let me be number 2. Trez is like, Lou was like, let me be number 2. I sacrificed and I'm chilling in the corner for this? For this? When I was the main guy last year? Kawhi, yeah, I'll sacrifice for Kawhi. You already know. But let me run pick and roll with Kawhi. Let me be the number 2. So I'm telling you, Paul George, the way maybe Doc Rivers is giving Paul George the same Kawhi treatment, I'm telling you, that's more so the issue. I'm reading between the lines. Because again, that's why now Doc Rivers' voice is lost, because they're looking at him like, yo, last year, again, you gave a whole different blueprint, a whole different situation, a whole different structure, the whole way we move was different. Now we come and all of a sudden, yeah, Kawhi, you can miss a game. And I don't even think it's necessarily load management, because they seen him low manage in Toronto and they already knew that's what it was. I'm thinking it's, let's say, the actual on the court type of stuff. Kawhi, you such a defensive assignment. He just allows him. Paul George, you such a defensive assignment. They don't say nothing. But if it's Lou Will, come on, Lou Will, what are you doing? Or if it's Pat Bev, yo, Pat Bev, what the hell are you doing? And that's where now, these are dogs. They're not the same guys in Toronto. They feel that they've overachieved. You're supposed to help us. We don't need you like that. You're supposed to help us. That's where they're different type of dogs. Obviously, Toronto is dogs too, but it's different type of dogs. These are like, I don't know what dog you want to have. These are the Rottweilers. These are the most aggressive dogs. I don't even know dogs like that, but they're the most aggressive dogs. Those police dogs, that's what they are. These guys are just house aggressive dogs. It's 2 different things. It's 2 different things with the Raptors and the Clippers. It's 2 different things. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, he can't do that special treatment no more. And the way Doc received it, the way Doc handled it, affected now the team. And that's why when he's saying things like, yo, let's go, before his motivation would have worked. Because you understand one thing with Doc, especially if he's not good X's and O's, the one thing he can do is motivate. So the fact that his main skill set, that's what they're looking at from the ownership standpoint. The fact that your main skill is motivation and getting the team to at least be energetic and like be here though is lost. What do you have to offer at this point? That's how they're looking at it as. So that's why it makes sense when this comes out more now that, okay, that's why he's fired. The way he handles certain things rubbed off all these guys who were there before the wrong way, that now they're like, you know what? I can't move like that. I can't move like that. So, you know what I mean? They're just like, yo, this man just talking. This man just talking. They don't listen to him. So that's why, like, even the way Pat Bev was moving, like this that guy's energy and the way he moves would just, you know, infiltrate the whole team. Even he was sometimes shaky at points and not, you know, sussing the rotation or whatever. And it's like, yo, it's crazy, man. That's why I was like, it's not X's and O's, man. It was chemistry issues. And clearly it showed. And this is something we didn't see within before the bubble. We've seen it at times, but not really. When the bubble happened, I think it got heightened because they were together all the time now, that now even got heightened even more. And stuff was going on. So that's clearly what the issues is. And it clearly, now it makes sense Doc Rivers getting fired. But anyways, it leads to Ty Lue getting hired. You know what I'm saying? And Ty Lue is a different, Ty Lue, again, he's probably, him being the assistant, he's just watching and seeing things. So Ty Lue hire for me, to me, is the perfect hire because he's someone who was there through it. Especially when a new coach comes in, it's like, you don't know what happened. You don't have no context on what happened. So when you try and body some guy a different way or whatever, like Ty Lue was actually there. So that's a benefit. The fact that he's in-house and he was assistant, now he's the lead, is something where I look at it and it's like, it's a match made in heaven, because this is a guy who, when he thrived with the Cavs, they went to the finals and they underachieved and they lost. Right? And he was there with David Blatt. Same type of situation. He was there as an assistant and became a lead. Became the head. Watching all the things that went wrong, and all of a sudden, Braun, all that special treatment and David Blatt not talking to you and not calling you out, that's cap. Ty Lue, I'ma do it. The way they're making it seem that he does it like he flexes is cap, but he does it. Because LeBron, there's no way. LeBron, you're out. You know what I'm saying? You already know. It's Le GM. You know what I'm saying? LeBron, his IQ's high. He's ranked that high. So, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he gave him a 1-2. He bodied him like, yo, LeBron. That turnover though? LeBron, no, this plays for Kyrie. It's not for you. Exact same other situation. David Blatt ran to play for Kyrie. Remember when David Blatt ran to play for Kyrie? He said, are you stupid? Give me the ball. Ty Lue runs to play for Kyrie. Out inbound though. That's the difference. People don't mention that. They don't mention that. So that shows you Ty Lue, not only is he have high respect from the players, especially because you played. Once you've played before, like automatically that type of respect level, they don't even question a lot of decisions you make because they know that you've played. And they've seen you. You won a ring before. You know what I'm saying? You've been in high games, even though Iverson stepped over you. But like Ty Lue was a defensive guy. Like Ty Lue wasn't like a scrub. Maybe stat-wise, they might say he's a scrub, but people who haven't watched. But if you watch, like, he was impactful on the court. Ty Lue wasn't like just a waste man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like he patted Iverson at some times. Like, he wasn't like a waste man. Like, come on now. Like, he had good defense, great defense. So, I mean, look at it from that perspective. So, defensively, he's going to give IQ. On the court wise, as a point guard, he has IQ. He's been there, done that type of stuff. So, you're always going to respect and listen to someone who's been there before you, right? Even if it's a LeBron, even if it's a Kawhi. So, that respect factor, this is why the best, other than Popovich and so whatever, but most of the best coaches have been the ones that have played before. Because there's a certain type of respect factor and a certain type of, we get it type of thing, unwritten rule. You don't have to say nothing, but just we look at each other's eyes and it's like, I know. That type of thing that the other coaches don't have with you. So I'm going to be more receptive to certain things you say and not react negatively and aggressively to certain things that you say, you know what I'm saying, because of just that fact alone. So Doc Rivers also too is a player. You know what I'm saying? He is a player. So that's not in terms of that, but it's just that, like I said, he made a decision that made him lose everything in their eyes. Didn't matter if he was a player, didn't matter if he's won 10 rings. The fact that he did what he just did, they're like, yo, I can't rate you like that. These are dogs. Right? So they don't rate you like that. Ty Lue maybe would have done something differently. But the fact that Ty Lue is watching what went wrong, he's going to come in automatically trying to fix it. It's the same thing he's done with Cleveland. He had to come in trying to fix it. And he did. Has to come in with the Clippers trying to fix it, and he did. And I'm sorry, not that he did, but I see that it's a perfect match made is what I'm looking at. Based off of Ty Lue's history, based off of the thing that's going on, this is what Ty Lue does. Come in, fix. So when I look at it, it's like it's great. It's great having them using IQ, have given Ty Lue head coaching, like, you know what I'm saying? It's great. And he's been there. He can see what is wrong. I know that he's going to look at Kawhi like, yo, what are you doing? He's going to challenge them the way Doc didn't really want to challenge them. And Doc was in a different situation. He didn't really do it because of what's at stake, what's at hand. And Kawhi coming in, it's like, don't mess this up. We have a building at hand. So he's like, you know what? I used to never give people special treatment, but let me just do it this way because clearly he's coming in with his load management. I'm going to just do that. I'm not going to rumble nothing. So he kind of played cautious, which is normally what he doesn't do. So the fact that he did it, again, just threw everybody else. He didn't think of the long-term effects of certain decisions. And that's where I say, okay, that's more so on him because he didn't have to take it like that. He could have bodied Kawhi or whoever in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? And I know they would probably react good to it. But again, that's where I say he lost the team in that sense. You know what I'm saying? I could agree and look at that and be like, okay, I hear what you're saying. Now that only makes sense for him getting fired in that situation. But one of the most key things about the Ty Lue hire is definitely Chauncey Billups being the lead assistant. That is beautiful. Chauncey being a finals MVP, Chauncey being Mr. Big Shot, being a clutch guy, Chauncey like being not only is he a clutch guy, he's been some guy who was under the radar and had to make a name for himself, like nothing was given. So he just fits. He fits. When he talks to Pat Bev, that guy gonna listen. Even if they didn't want to listen to Ty Lue. If Chauncey talks to them, they gonna listen. If Chauncey, especially Lou will, like people don't understand. Chauncey and Lou will, like they're the type like under radar. I could be more than what they say I am, even though the real guys know that I'm that guy. But you know, the media might not know me as that guy. I'm still clutch. I'm a smaller guy. This and that. I have to go through certain hurdles. Like it's a match made in heaven. Like Lou Will's gonna only get better and mentally when Chauncey talks to him. Stuff like that is gonna, especially now Paul George being the second guy, like especially being the second guy, having to buy into a team and being an underdog team, or not only having high expectations, especially being with the Pistons. Certain guys have different statures, and certain like you know what I mean. So he can be like, I was the guy for that team, being the Finals MVP, and that I'm the guy. He can match with Kawhi, but he also at some games, you know, was playing with Rip Hamilton, had to understand what Rip Hamilton going through. You can attest to maybe Paul George, all that type of stuff. So it's like he's bounced around sometimes like Pat Bev early in his career. Like he can, you know, so all the other role players he can talk to, like, you know what I mean? He's gonna be that very good glue, that solid glue. When that project is failing, when that project is not intact, use that right glue and I promise you it'll stick together. That's him. That's Chauncey. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's just, I look at it as a great hire. So I just know that they're going to only get better next year, especially chemistry wise. Even if they kept the exact same roster, I still think they are a finals bound type of team. Because again, the roster in grand scheme, yes, looks like it's an issue with this and that, but they could easily with fighting, with schemes, with being a dog, with being just chemistry wise on the one string, they still would have done damage, especially to the Lakers, even without the rim protection or whatever that they say. Because you still have Zubats. It was the pick and popping. The pick and popping was the issue. And with AD there, they don't even pick and pop. They pick and pop, but they would switch everything. That's what they do. They don't really. It's only with Jokic because he's such a big brolic guy that they were reluctant to switch on a lot of the pops. So that affected them. But with AD, that was the thing. That's why AD had 0 points in one of the fourth quarters or whatever. The only one because Avery Bradley snapped that one game. And then obviously the bubble, they won whatever because remember, that came down to the last play or whatever. But a lot of times they were switching everything. You know what I'm saying? And the main thing, the only weakness was mainly Lou Will defensively. But like AD wasn't eating like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, because again, Paul George and they have length because AD's a finesse player. It actually plays more into the hand. That's people are forgetting. AD kills. When you have an actual big on him, he's that hybrid 4/5. I can face up the bigs. I can face up if a guy's too big. I can just blow by him. Right? I could just I could face him up, shoot because he has to sag, or I could blow by him and it's just too much. You know what I'm saying? That's why Jokic struggled and Nurkic struggled. Then when you look at it from, if they're too small, I don't really break chest, but I could do that floater and turn on them. They can't really contest. But they have the best of both. When it came to the Clippers, they had girth, and like AD's only 6'10", people are forgetting. Paul George already is 6'9". Marcus Morris is 6'9", 6'8", 6'9". Kawhi 6'7". And they have length, and Kawhi has size, so you're not just breaking his chest. Morris has size, you're not just breaking his chest. Paul George has length, so you're not just facing up, shooting over him like that. So that's why, AD's more of a finesse player. So it's like he struggled actually more so with the Clippers than with the other teams. And people aren't looking at it from that angle. But, you know what I mean? It's different. But they had to get there. That was the issue. But again, like I said, when it comes to the same roster, they could keep the same roster and they can actually still go to the finals. But people are going to overreact because they lost. They need a point guard. They need this and need that. Which, again, for me to say need, it means you can't win without it. The fact that I think, and everyone knows, but they just won't say it, you can win with the exact same roster. You could win a finals. You know what I'm saying? But, so I'm not going to say you need a point guard. A point guard would help, though, because there is holes and certain things that a point guard would fill. You know what I'm saying? It would help, most definitely. But for you to need, like you can't win without it, I don't co-sign that or agree with that. But it would help. It definitely would help. You know what I'm saying? It definitely would help. So when it looks like that, I see the Lakers are trying to go for Derrick Rose. Like there's some roster changes they need to make, obviously. I'm going to do a next video because this video is getting long. I just wanted to talk about just this coaching situation in depth and give that IQ because that's what I do. But there is, more. There is there's some things that they could do with the roster. You know what I'm saying? There are some things they could do. Now, y'all let me know in the comment section because then I'll answer to a lot of your questions off this comments. Y'all let me know if one of the things that they are looking to do, maybe people are saying get rid of Paul George and trade him. Y'all let me know if they should do that or if they should go and try and get a Chris Paul. Like they say, the point guard, they need a point guard. Should they trade Paul George in pursuit to get a point guard, or should they just trade Paul George in general and have a different number 2, whatever the case is? Or should they get a point guard? Do they really need it? Should they get maybe a Chris Paul, or what type of point guard do you think they should get? Chris Paul, or what do they say, Derrick Rose and whoever and all that type of stuff? Is that what they need to go for? Or do they need to get rim protection? They need to go for an actual big? Do they need to go get a Dwight Howard? Or, try to get him and steal him all along the line? Should they go for Cousins? What should they go for? Who is the type of guys they should go for? You know what I'm saying? So you let me know in the comment section what you think they should do roster-wise. But when it looks like, in terms of the roster, there is people who are free agents, like Harrow, who's the free agent? They have Harrow's a free agent. Marcus Morris is a free agent. Jamichael is a player option. So I assume, especially, I think he's going to pick up his player option and bet on himself and force himself to stay with the Clippers. If that was me, I would do that. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely going to do that. Patrick Patterson is a free agent. Reggie Jackson, Joakim Noah, and Jonathan Motley. Those are the free agents. You know what I'm saying? So should they keep any of them? Who should they sign? Who should they not? Y'all let me know in the comment section, and I'll do a next video on the actual nitty gritty with the roster, what they should actually do to improve it, and things they should do to maybe leave it, or myths that people are saying that they need to do, whatever the case is. I'll go through those more in depth. I still got videos coming on. I'll be back in action. I got videos because, again, it was my birthday on Thursday. So y'all who gave me birthday wishes, I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the love. It was my birthday and the anniversary then. So that's why I was, off the grid for a 1-2 days. I had to go to work, you know what I'm saying? And just celebrated a 1-2, even though it's Corona, but we stay safe out here. But again, I appreciate y'all. And it was Thanksgiving as well too. So again, appreciate y'all giving me that birthday wishes. Hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. For y'all who are in Canada, y'all who are in the States, you already know your Black Friday is coming up later down. But again, appreciate y'all for giving me those wishes and all that type of stuff. But we back in action, you know what I'm saying? And now it's like, again, Fred VanVleet, there's rumblings with him. The Knicks are want to offer him. So whether the Raptors should go for Victor Oladipo, maybe go for our Cousins. Do we keep Ibaka? There's so many things that we got to get into, right? When it comes to the Raptors, again, with the Brooklyn Nets, with their whole new coaching hire. People are thinking it's not going to work in terms of Kyrie and KD. A lot of things we could talk about. The Lakers also too, with them winning the ring, but some adjustments they're looking to make, you know what I'm saying? And all this type of stuff. So a lot of different teams, you know what I'm saying, we got to look into. And I know a lot of people got a lot of questions. DeRozan obviously too as well could be a free agent. So, there's a lot of things we could look at. So again, this is what Elite looks like. Thank you for coming for that IQ, because that's what I do. You already know we out here. There's no doubt here and there's no drought here. You feel me? Share, like, and subscribe. It's True Talks, because True Talks, remember, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. You already know. And I'm out, man.